What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockeytown University. You are here with me once again, one of your hosts, Zack. Yes, the boys got the vacation today. I'm solo. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, however you guys celebrate. We thank you once again for joining us. If you are returning, thank you. If you are new, thank you for stopping by. We really do appreciate it. And we know that's tough to get you to settle down during the holidays. You're probably traveling a lot, seeing a bunch of friends, a bunch of family. But as always, we appreciate you for stopping by. If you wouldn't be so kind, why don't you go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. If you are new or returning, that definitely is appreciated. Or you could always smash that thumbs up button. Turns the frown upside down and it helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. It really does. Go ahead and do that. If you are on Spotify, go ahead and hit that follow button and rate us 5 stars. That also goes a long way. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And so all we got today is really just some recaps, just going over World Juniors, some Red Wings games, and a little bit of Red Wings news. So why don't we go ahead and talk about the World Junior Championships, which did begin the day after Christmas, December 26th. Who do I got to win the World Junior Championship of 2024? I gotta go with Sweden. I mean, they looked phenomenal. Team Sweden just played Team USA, beat them 2-0. That's kind of who I got. If I had to pick silver, it's either Team Canada or Team USA. You really can't count out either of those teams, even Team Sweden, all three of those teams. But one team that really is starting to stick out to me would be Slovakia. Slovakia looks like that they're playing really hard. I mean, they've won their last 3 games. Granted, they have been against Czechia, Switzerland, and Norway, but they still look pretty good. They got some pretty big name players out there. But let's go ahead and talk about some Red Wings players that are playing in the World Junior Championship. And so that would be Nate Danielson, Trey Augustine, Axel Sandin Palika, my boy, Anton Johansson, and Kevin Bicker. Danielson is playing for Team Canada, Trey Augustine with Team USA, Axel Sandin Palika and Anton Johansson both playing for Team Sweden, and then Kevin Bicker for Team Germany. And so Game 1 updates, what do I got here is that Nate Danielson was actually named player of the game, the first game where he registered 1 goal, 1 assist against Team Finland and played 13 minutes and 23 seconds. And Team Canada ended up winning that game 5-2. Then you got Team USA between Trey Augustine getting the first starting nod, winning the game for Team USA 4-1. Yes, allowing 1 goal in his 21 out of 22 saves. He posted a .955 save percentage. So good starting role for Trey Augustine. He unfortunately did not get to play the next 2 games, Game 2 and Game 3. I had that listed down in my notes. Cam Fowler came in and played. I believe that he is a prospect for the Ducks. I could be wrong on that, but yes, he is a prospect who is already drafted, and so he's gotten the next 2 starting nods up against Finland, and then also just playing up against Team Switzerland. So yeah, continuing on, ASP did register 1 assist against Team Latvia, played 17 minutes and 31 seconds. Anton Johansson in that same game registered no points, but did play 20 minutes. There was 1 player on Team Sweden. I believe it was a defenseman who actually pretty much boarded someone from behind in the numbers, and he got a game misconduct and then was suspended for the next game. And so that increased ice time for a lot of these defensive players. So good looks on Anton Johansson for getting extra time as a shutdown defenseman. So good on him. ASP playing more of that power play quarterback role. So good on him too. Kevin Bicker also recorded an assist in his first game and then played 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Don't sleep on Kevin Bicker. Honestly, he is a really good prospect for the Detroit Red Wings. It's just very unfortunate, I guess, playing in the DEL that you just aren't lighting the lamp up as you would. Comparing him to Mo Seider, like we said, isn't the best way to go about it. Apples to oranges. And so let's ride the waves right now. After this game and 9 out of 9 games, he's got 9 points in those 9 games in international play, if you want to count this tournament. So keep going at it, Kevin Bicker. You're doing fantastic. Game day 2. Danielson, no points, 13 minutes played. I get it. Danielson is only playing on the 3rd line. You got a lot of talented players on Team Canada. even like a Macklin Celebrity who's supposed to be drafted this year. So hopefully Danielson can still somehow find some points playing in that third role. Hopefully maybe he ends up getting an extended role and can move up into the second line or the first line eventually. You never know. Injuries happen all the time, or just silly mistakes that players make, and he automatically gets a promotion from that. So moving on, ASP, no points, 19-15 played. Their second game was against Latvia, I believe. Did I just say that? Yeah, I did. I'm wrong. It was against Germany where they won 5-0. Danielson, they played against Latvia. It was 10-0 as well. So yeah, Sweden winning against Germany 5-0. ASP 19-15 played. Anton Johansson 17 minutes played. And then Augustine against Team Switzerland. Like I said, Augustine did not play. And then Kevin Becker against Team Sweden, losing 5-0. No points, 16 minutes, 44 seconds played. And then game day 3, let's go ahead and talk about Team Canada versus Team Sweden, where Danielson posted no points, 14:45 played. ASP, no points, 19 minutes played. Anton Johansson, 1 minute 23 played. I'm assuming he got injured. I'm really not sure. If someone wants to put that down in the comments. I did not get to watch the game. I honestly did not get a chance to follow up with that. So if someone can let me know, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll probably find out on my own. But yeah, Kevin Becker, no points. Kevin Becker does not play today until 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, Trey Augustine did not play today as well. So 2 game days where Trey Augustine did not play. I don't know if that's because Fowler is now the starting goaltender, but I would at least let Trey Augustine get one more start. He's only allowed 1 goal. I get it. It's against Norway. However, you see this other goalie who has allowed 3 goals in each game that he has started in for Team USA. So one of them going into a shootout against Team Czechia. So that's something that you have to look out for. Personally, that's just my opinion. But yes. Now, according to the standings, let's see here. In Group A, you have Team Sweden leading the lead with 9 points, 3 wins, followed by Team Canada with 2 wins, 1 loss. Then Team Germany with 3 points, 1 win, 2 losses, or 1 loss. Like I said, they play 1 more game today. Then you got Team Finland with 1 loss, or 1 win, 2 losses, and then Latvia, no wins. And then Group B, you got Slovakia leading the way, 9 points. Team USA right behind them with 8. Czechia with 4. Switzerland and Norway with 0 points, where they have not won any games or gone into overtime. So that's how the tournament's going. If I had to place my money at Sweden first, probably USA, then Canada. I like USA's goaltending. I like their forwards. And so I'm going with my boys, Sweden. And that's where most of the Red Wings prospects are in this tournament. So that's part of the reason why I'm picking that team as well. And so, all right. That's all I got for World Junior Championship updates. And so I think I can go into the Red Wings news. And so for Red Wings news, Kirill Tyutyayev, the 23-year-old forward from Russia, is leaving the Toledo Walleye. That's very sad because I was a big believer in Toots when the rebuild was super deep into it. Fresh Iserman. So he has signed to play back home for a team in the VHL, Gornyak-UGMK. Toots did have 13 points with 1 goal, 12 assists in his 24 games played for the Walleye this season. Those numbers really don't scream at you, especially for the ECHL, East Coast Hockey League. No offense to Toots, for someone who had been playing with them for quite a bit of time and playing with Grand Rapids Griffins, I think that you should have done a little bit more to insert yourself if you wanted to make it into the NHL lineup. We do have quite a bit of backlog, obviously, as we can see, because we keep on pounding on the table for players like Berggren, Edvinsson, XO players as well on Grand Rapids Griffins to make the team, and they just can't. And so there simply just was not enough room for Kirill. Seems like that's, as time went on, it seemed the same for Toledo, but good for him for going back home if that's exactly what he wanted. You know, more power to him. Thanks for everything you've done for me, for us, the fans, and best of luck to you. And so, but that's, the Red Wings did recall, and I might reiterate myself once we get into the game recaps. Red Wings did recall Jonatan Berggren, Austin Czarnik, and Simon Edvinsson from the AHL Grand Rapids Griffins under emergency conditions, and I believe that was right after Christmas that they did that. And so Some things did change. With that news, additionally, the Red Wings did have to place Christian Fischer on injured reserve, which was retroactive to December 23rd. You already had some key injuries with that, so that's the reason why you called up those three players. David Perron, Daddy P's appeal was upheld with a bogus response by Gary Bettman. Go figure. Yeah. Patrick Kane did have, I probably won't talk about this one, so I'll move on to this one. Red Wings did place goaltender Alex Lyon on injured reserve, retroactive to December 16th. Patrick Kane was named the third star of the week last week in the NHL with 4 goals, 4 assists, and 4 games. Who would have thought? Not me, probably not you. Congratulations, Patrick Kane. You're still a superstar. And then Simon Edvinsson was sent back down to the Grand Rapids Griffins this last Thursday. Defenseman came back. Everyone came back scot-free from injury. So it's all part of the game. I really don't know what more Simon Edvinsson has to do when he did play on, I believe that was the last time he played was on Wednesday against the Minnesota Wild. I thought that he played a very good first period. Then he was very quiet and unnoticeable personally in those last 40 minutes, those last 2 periods. Now, some would say that as a defenseman, that's a good thing, right? Like, you were quiet, you did your job, you weren't outstanding, you weren't noticeable, you did your job. Yes and no. We want Simon Edvinsson to be noticeable for the right reasons. It's okay if he is unnoticeable in good ways, but the way that this team has been playing defensively, it's tough to say that he played a good game, because there were definitely a couple times and during these call-ups that Simon Edvinsson still has some things that he needs to clean up in his game. You still see a lot of reaching. You still see not the lack of back checking or forward checking, but a lot of gliding. I don't really see him putting in the extra juice to get to the spots to chase down a player or just make a really nice play, get behind someone, stick lift them, take the puck away from him. But he does have good ability to, put himself in spots to disrupt a play or block a pass to the opposing player, and so he did look good, like I said, in that first period where he was able to enter the zone and carry the puck through the neutral zone into the opposing zone and just kind of hold it and wait for his team to regroup after a line change and keep it in that zone. And so he was able to do that. Like I said, he was noticeable in that one period on the game against the Minnesota Wild. Other than that, I thought that he was kind of just not noticeable, not there. And so let's go ahead and go into the game notes. We have a lot. There's 4 games I have to cover. This is going to be a very super short episode, as you guys can tell. I'm only 14 minutes into the recording. So let's go ahead and see how long this takes, shall we? And so try not to go as fast as possible, but the Red Wings did play against the Philadelphia Flyers on Friday, December 22nd at 7 p.m. I believe they played. The Red Wings did win 7-6 in a shootout. Reimer was in net. David Perron finally returns after his 6-game suspension. Wallman was benched this game, and then Mata was injured and did not return in the game. Alex DeBrincat did net his 20th career assist this game, and Patrick Kane gets the first and second goal of the game. Philly gets one back quickly off of a 2-on-1, so it's 2-1. Mata takes a big open ice hit at center ice, and the team responds, which is nice to see, since it rarely happens. Now that you don't have Clint Costin in the lineup, he was out in this game. Mata did not return. Sider shoots with a strong tip on the puck to make it 3-1. The Red Wings on the power play. Raymond then with a stick behind the back pass behind the net on the board, or when he's on the boards to Joe Veleno, who tried to stuff it in, but JT Compher was able to come in and finish it to make it 4-1, the Detroit Red Wings. And so, less than 30 seconds left, the Wings looked like they were on a power play cycling the puck on the Flyers, where Kane makes a sick pass off the boards, creating an outstanding shooting opportunity for Ghost Bear, who puts it top shelf, making it 5-1 Detroit Red Wings. And so you guys probably saw my face, the way I looked. I was like, I saw everything else at the bottom underneath that last goal that I just mentioned by Ghost Bear. And I'm like, oy vey, here we go. And here's the PTSD part for you guys, is where I say the boys are buzzing, the boys are back, and they're on fire. And I should have left that out of my notes because that's when the Flyers started crawling their way back from a 5-1 deficit. And so Garnett Hathaway, after the first period, was assessed a 10-minute game misconduct for going after Fabry. Do you think this is where it all went right? You're wrong. Nick Seeler ejected for fighting Fischer, which makes no sense. Flyers make it 5-2 with a nice deflection in the front of the net. Flyers then make it 5-3 with another tip in front of the net. I'm getting San Jose Sharks flashbacks. Refs give Ghost Bear double minor for interfering in unsportsmanlike conduct. Refs were super soft in this game, if you couldn't tell. Flyers led the second period. Wings fell back in the seat, letting up on the offense. Yes, this is exactly what happens, and this is the story of our lives. The Red Wings will have a lead. They'll sit back. They'll play defense, minimal defense at that, or at least attempt to play defense. Maybe they just skate out there, however you want to look at it. And they allow these teams to just come in and take over. It's now 5-3 going into the third period. Flyers get another tip in to make it 5-4. Flyers make it 5-5. Then take the lead 6-5. I didn't even put down who scored on these because that's how upset I was during this game. This is when I take the notes, is actually during the games. Larkin was able... Yeah, the Flyers took the lead at 6-5. You were up 5-1, and now they're leading you 6-5. Larkin was able to get one back quickly to tie it 6-6. That puts us in overtime. Nothing happens in overtime. Shootout comes. Raymond and Kane seal the deal to get the much-earned and needed 2 points and an unofficial Patrick by Patrick Kane. So good for him. He did register 2 goals this game. Then he got the shootout winner to win the game for us. It's very silly that players don't get the goals accounted for their goal total or point total. Personally, from a shootout, I think it's silly. I think you should, if you get the quote-unquote game winner in the shootout, it should count as a goal. Yes, I am one of those people that thinks that. Overall, in this game, the team really needs to figure out their defensive issues. Seriously, we really don't. If it's not the players, then it's the coaching that needs to light a fire under their asses. Seriously, us as fans, we're going after players, and now we're going after coaching. It can be both, but one of them is going to have to go eventually, right? And I fear for Derek Lalonde in that aspect. Granted, it is only his second season. I don't think that he will be fired this season, but a lot of fans are calling for his head right now. And so if the players aren't able to light a fire under their butts right now, that's on the coaching staff to get them clicking and to get them more motivated out there and playing better. I don't know exactly what else they need to do other than, personally, like I've said, we've talked about it on some episodes, assistant coaching really needs to take a step up. Personally, I think that that's what it is, and they need to fix their defensive issues. And so, yeah, continuing on with that game. Let's see here. Whoa. Yeah, coaching needs to let the team play like an offensive dynamo in every period and stop letting them take a back seat and playing defense when it's a sore spot night in and night out. That's what the trend is that we're seeing. You play really hard in your first period. You might do it in your second period. And then by the third period, you're playing so bad and you're just probably so gassed out that your defense is just not there. This team still has trouble getting the puck out of their offensive zone. It's just a complete nightmare. Other than that, though, on a positive note, that snaps a 4-game losing streak against the Flyers and in general. So we weren't just on a 4-game losing streak, but we were on a 4-game losing streak to the Philadelphia Flyers. And so let's move on to the Devils, where we played them the next day, which would be Saturday, December 23, where we lost 3-2. We were leading with Hutchinson in net, and this was his first game in net. I thought he looked fantastic for someone that we just signed right on the spot that we needed to fill the spot for. Kane was able to get the Wings on the board first with a nice connection by Alex DeBrincat. Obviously, of course, they have that really nice connection going on. Raymond was hit awkwardly and potentially injured. He wasn't, so that was great. The Devils did tie it 1-1 because we can't defend. That's honestly just what it is. I really didn't put context into this, and I did not go back to look at it, but we just can't defend. That's simply what it is. Players aren't going to their assignments, or at least looking back and making sure that they're actually covering a player. Some players are going with their other teammates and going after one player, much like in yesterday's game. We'll go into it more. But yeah, during this, Hutchinson looks good so far. Ghostberry then clap bombs one to make it 2-1 midway through the second period. Petrie and Fischer go head-to-head late in the second, and both needed help off the ice and would not return that game. They did end up returning eventually, but just not in the game. Meyer gets a weird bounce to tie it up 2-2 early in the third period. Raymond called for goalie interference when he was hit awkwardly into the goalie. Newsy lets the refs have it on this one, and it was just really a bogus call, and so that potentially could have put the Red Wings in a really bad spot. But Michael Hutchinson was an absolute animal in that penalty kill and makes quite a few number of key saves to keep the Red Wings in this game. And so, unfortunately, as time went on, the Devils did get a deflection goal to take the lead 3-2. Wings tried to come back at the end, but they did end up losing 3-2. Overall, it's the same old love story. Red Wings look good. They take the lead. They fall back in their defensive seats, and they let the other team control the pace. Penalty kill was good, and Hutch played one hell of a game today. Tough back-to-back games on the road. Also losing out on Petrie and Fischer the whole third period was a huge blow to this team. And so it seems like ever since the David Perron, Dylan Larkin incident with Senators, the Red Wings have been very much on an unlucky streak when it comes to injuries with their players, right? 2 goaltenders, 3 forwards, then it was 4 forwards, and you get some back. Now it's 2 defensemen. All right. This has been a horrible month of December. If you are writing the Wings off right now, you probably shouldn't be. Going into January, hopefully we get a somewhat healthy month. All of our goaltenders come back. Alex Lyon is finally back. Like I said, I'll discuss that as we continue on. Yeah, let's keep it moving along. So fast forward to December 27th. We're skipping through Christmas, right? Hopefully everyone had a great Christmas, but the Red Wings were still stuck in Christmas land, apparently, because the Red Wings lose 6-3 to the Minnesota Wild with Reimer in net, unfortunately. Czarnik, Berggren, and Edvinsson were playing in this game. All 3 of them got called up because Veleno, Mata, Fischer, and Petrie were all out. Into the game, first 45 seconds, Boldy opens the scoring with a turnover at the Minnesota blue line, which created basically a 3-on-1 situation, which left Reimer on a 2-0 situation. Minnesota scores, making it 1-0. Defensive woes, same thing. Defense is a big issue. But I do believe, remembering that was an issue with the forward coming back and actually playing defense, and I think that was David Perron who glided back to help out on that 2-0 situation. And so, Daddy P, you got to put the burners on the skates. I get it that you fell center ice, but you can't just glide getting back, right? That's part of the problem that we're having on defense with these forwards. So let's get it figured out, whether that's through the players or the coaching. So 6 minutes later, Kane rips one blocker side with a nice open ice pass from Alex DeBrincat to tie the game 1-1. And not even 2 minutes in the second, with a good opportunity by Hartman, where Marcus Johansson comes down the slot to bury it, with Wings players standing in front of the net. Yeah, so this team did nothing to help Reimer in the second, who makes a few big saves in the period. Wings score on the power play with an Alex DeBrincat wheelhouse beauty clap bomb to tie the game 2-2 to start the third period. So that's great to see. Sider goes to pinch and gets beat on a 3-on-2 situation to give Minnesota a 3-2 lead. Had Comfer, though, not skated towards the half wall, anticipating Sider won the puck battle, this might have not been a goal. And so it's just one of those decision-making things that you have to do, right? Like, yes, you're thinking that Sider will win that puck battle along the boards, and you hope that he just pushes it towards you while you're on the half wall, right? And so, unfortunately, that's not the way it works. You being the center, JT Comfort, you should have been playing more at the center, just in case if that turnover did happen. But this is one of those situations where we keep on saying the players have to trust each other, the coaches have to trust each other, and the coaches really need to start lighting fires under these players' butts when the tough gets tough. And so, moving on with that, right after the Hartman goal, Marcus Foligno makes it 4-2 because the Wings don't play hard in front of their own nets. and they score off of a rebound. Yes, that is and it's not just in front of their own net, it's even against the opposing net too. They just don't play hard in front of the nets for whatever reason. And it seems to always be Petrie and Ben Sherratt most of the time, and we'll kind of get into them too because they were sore spots in the last game, much like they are almost every game, but trying not to pick on players specifically. While make it 5-2, Marcus Johansson goal. That makes it 3 goals, another 3 minutes for Minnesota. It was 2-2 at one point. Daniel Sprong gets one back to make it 5-3, basically going coast to coast, high glove outside the playoff dot. This is what you paid him to do, to kind of come up with plays like this every once in a while, but continue the scoring 5-on-5 or even on the power play, right? And so good on Daniel Sprong for him taking it upon himself to be like, let me put the team on my back and go basically coast to coast and ripping one. The goalie probably should have made the save, no doubt. It was just right outside the face-off circle, and so like I said, it went high. The goalie probably should have saved it, but good on Daniel Sprong. Those are the types of goals that we need, especially in games like these. But unfortunately, it just really wasn't enough because Kaprizov then scores to make it 6-3. Overall, the Christmas break may have given some players opportunity to rest, but the boys have the same struggles. Sacrificing offense to play mediocre defense, making minor mistakes and bad plays that lead to high danger opportunities and goals being scored on. Seider had minimal to 0 offensive zone starts. So stop blaming Mo Seider. If you are him, and Jake Wallman gets put on the most difficult assignments in the NHL against the most difficult pairings and players out on the ice. So stop with the slander. It makes absolutely no sense. This is not how we should be thinking about our players, is that Mo Seider is garbage. The kid isn't even 22 yet. Jake Wallman, he's still fairly young, and this is really only his second full season in the NHL, and so we have to give these kids time, and the coaching really needs to figure out a way on how to deploy these players better. Edvinsson looked decent, but the forward group really needs to lean in to help this defense properly. That's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of bad forward defending out there. And so, yeah, I keep on going back to the coaching staff. The coaching staff really needs to help these players out. Seider and Wallman can't do it on their own, like I mentioned. With our third and fourth goalies, it's the whole team thing. Fabry, Raymond, and Comfort were all -4 tonight. That second line, the lines got juggled up. That second line was god awful. They were just awful on defense out there. And so, excuse me, this was just a really tough game to watch. And so I'm glad that it was over, but this was a poor effort by the team as a whole, especially when you have your third and fourth string goalie out there. It's not good for anyone. And so let's now fast forward again to Friday night's game, where the Red Wings played against the Nashville Predators and beat them 5-4 on Friday. And so Lyon was finally able to come back. He did get the starting nod. Thank God. We appreciate you, Alex Lyon. Hutch was sent down to Grand Rapids Griffins through waivers. He did play that night. Edvinsson was also sent back to Grand Rapids Griffins. At this point, I get it. It's because he's waiver eligible. But at the same token, I don't see him being less valuable than a Petrie, a Mata, and a Hall at this point. I really don't. And I'm sure it's the same for you guys listening, watching, however you're paying attention to me today on this fine recording. But yeah, let's move on. Comfort on the top line with Kane and Alex Brinkett to start the game. Larkin second line with Raymond and Perron. Okay. Not my preferred choice. Comfort's been pretty sus lately, but let's go ahead and give her a try. And so we did. Wings enter the game 0-15-1 when scoring 3 goals or fewer this season. That's how they opened up this game, with that beautiful stat. So that was great to see. I love it. Thanks, Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond, for talking about that one. That made me feel really warm and fuzzy in my heart and made me not hopeful for this game because it was very scary. Larkin does open the scoring for the game with a shorthanded goal. Good. That's exactly what we needed. We needed that kind of fire to get us going. But Sherratt then with a bad turnover at the offensive blue line where he chases the player behind the net. Petrie tries to pinch to take the puck from that player when they were behind the net and leaving a wide open Forsberg to tie the game 1-1. Yeah, Petrie did turn around to see if there was any players coming up from behind him. Obviously didn't look hard enough, and there's a wide open Philip Forsberg, and I feel bad for Alex DeBrincat because he actually had to try and come and defend him, and he almost got a stick there, but that's 100% on Petrie. He was standing in front of the net, decided to pinch in and try and get the puck. Got beat. It is what it is. 1-1 tie game. Saros makes an amazing save on Kane, which, if you haven't seen already, go ahead and see that because it is most definitely a potential save of the year candidate for UC Soros on Patrick Kane. And it probably would win because it's Soros versus Kane. And so can we trade for UC Soros, please? I think that would help us out so much with a lot of our problems. And I did tweet that out yesterday. And so I don't know what's going to take. If it takes the whole cup of prospects that we have, go ahead and take the whole cup board. It's all good. We could deal with the UC Soros for a couple of years and maybe win a cup or two. Maybe. We'll see. Moving on. Jake Wallman gets one on the blocker side with 22 seconds left in the first to take the lead back, making it 2-1 Red Wings. And this is a Jake Wallman who was benched a couple of games prior to this. And so that's good to see him getting up on the board. Much needed, fire under his butt. I keep on saying this, but it's true. A lot of these players were lacking going into the new year. The Red Wings still have to play one more on Sunday against Boston at 5 p.m. And I'll probably go a little depth in that. But yeah. Moving on, Comfort with a really bad pass on the power play back to Ghost Bear, which was intercepted by Nyquist to tie it 2-2. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. They were on the power play. I don't know if Comfort just, and I'm sure it's part of their systems thing where that's just the automatic play, right? Where you enter in, you kind of do a little move, and then you pass it back to the quarterback on the power play, which in this case is Shane Ghost Bear on the power play 1. I don't know if JT Comfort just didn't put his head up before making the pass and just didn't read it. But also good on Gustav Nyquist for reading the play. He knew exactly where to go because he was on the right side of the ice and decided, hey, I'm just going to go over here into this passing lane and break it up. And that's exactly what he did. And he was able to take it all the way down and make it 2-2. And so Comfort, I don't know what you're doing, man, but that was just a really bad pass, and makes me question sometimes if he's still injured. I would not be shocked if he was, and so you just got to play a little bit smarter. If you are injured, there really are no excuses, but still, no matter what, that was just a really bad pass by Comfort. But yeah, 2-2, it's tied. Moving along, Mata with a pass to Wallman, who had to recover to get the puck behind the net, loses it. And Forsberg is there to bury it to make it 3-2. This is kind of when I lost a little bit of hope in this game because the Red Wings were just struggling at making bad decisions and just losing the puck and really bad turnovers. And that's been a really bad issue lately where you've had a lot of bad turnovers. I mean, there was a lot in the game against Minnesota too. And so this team really just needs to take a really big, deep breath and just calm down and just play hockey like they know how to, like they did in the first 25 games. And this is something that even the players keep on mentioning. We need to play like we did in the first 25 games of the season, not the month of December. But the month of December has been all about injuries. So moving along, DeBrincat fights Roman Josi towards the end of the second period, which was really cool to see. Never thought 5'8" Alex DeBrincat would be fighting 6'1" Roman Josi, the captain of the Nashville Predators. And so good on him. DeBrincat did end up actually getting a added penalty onto that. And so Nashville Predators did go on the power play. But after that, Alex DeBrincat was able to tie it 3-3 with a really nice goal. Moving along, Jake Wallman takes the lead, making it 4-3 with also a really nice ripper. The assist gives Alex DeBrincat a Gordie Howe hat trick. Yes. So I think that's the first Gordie Howe hat trick that we've had this season. So good to see there. Love that. Nyquist was then able to get one back to tie it 4-4. That puts us into overtime. Raymond gets the winner down the slot, blocker side. Wings win 5-4, get the full 2 points. Blocker side definitely was the right call. Mickey Redmond, you called down the game. Yeah, you can't be shooting it glove side. You got to go blocker side all day. Once they said that, that's when the Red Wings started scoring all those goals. And so, good on you, Mickey. We appreciate you as always. And so overall for this game, huge win for the boys, even though it certainly was not a pretty win. But 2 points is 2 points at this point for a Detroit Red Wings team. Do they really have to be pretty? We would like for them to be. But this team can't get a win without having to score 4 goals or more. That really is a huge issue. And it's very much not sustainable. And I kept asking that at, when we were in October and November. How sustainable is this? December really showed us that it's not. The line looked fantastic in this game. Really did. I know that he let in 4 goals and that his save percentage was under a 9. But not every goal was his fault, right? And so there were a lot of costly mistakes by Red Wings forwards, defensemen, that allowed some of these goals to go in. It would have ended up being 4-2 in my personal opinion, had Mata and Wallman not goofed, had Comfort not goofed. It would have been a better outlook for Alex Lyon. But overall, I thought he looked fantastic. The team keeps making costly mistakes, like I keep mentioning, but it was nice to see them enter the third with fire under their asses and snuck out of it with 2 points, and hopefully can finish the new year with another 2 points on Sunday at 5 p.m. versus the Boston Bruins. When will they actually score, or when will they win a game without having to score 3+ goals or more? I literally just asked that, but I'm asking that again. Seriously. Just asking for myself, a friend, and everyone else's friends and their grandmas and their second cousins. So, yeah, I don't know. It's players, it's coaching, it's all of the above. Even asking the question why Yzerman felt like it was needed to get to Hall, who doesn't play every game, keep an Oli Mata longer, get a Jeff Petrie when you just got Hall, Shane Gosper. I get it for depth reasons. I don't get it for defensive play reasons, because we're not seeing that out on the ice at all. And it's part of the forwards issue too. The forwards just simply aren't putting that product out on the ice, and we need to start seeing that more. And that's pretty much all I got. I think I said enough within this 40-minute episode. I'm surprised it took that long, but it did. There was a lot for me to say. And so with that said, I got nothing else. My final thoughts are, let's go Red Wings. Let's beat the Boston Bruins. Let's get in there. We're currently sitting 5th in the Atlantic still. I'm pretty sure we're still 4 points out of a wild card spot. We're just right behind the Tampa Bay Lightning. Let's see here. We're behind Tampa Bay by 1 point. Same games played. Washington has 3 less games played than we do, and they have 3 points. New Jersey Devils have 2 less games played than we do. They have 4 more points. Carolina, same games played with 42 points. The Wings really need to go onto a heater right now. They need to go onto a 10-game heater, much like they did the opposite in December, where they went 2-8 in the last 10 games played before entering the Nashville Predators game. And so in the month of December, let's see, they lost 9 games. And they've won 4. They've won 4. It's tough. They really need to turn it around going into next month in January, where they play quite a bit of games. I believe they play, let's see here, that would be, it's like 13 games, I believe. And if they can win 10 out of those 13 games, that should help them secure a playoff spot a little bit better. Personally, I really do think that this team can still make the playoffs. I know that it's looking very bleak, but all these other teams are going to start having the same issues as we are if they aren't seeing them already. And so what we need to do as a team is sit back, relax, take deep breaths. Coaching needs to Tell the forwards to start playing heavier offense. The forechecking needs to be a little bit harder. You need to get the puck out of your zone better. And you need to start just playing better overall defense as a team for your goaltender's sake. If you're not going to make a change, Steve Yzerman, anytime soon between the defense and the goaltending, then the players you currently have need to step it up, or else you're going to have to end up trading a Patrick Kane eventually. He came here because he thought that this team was good and was going to be competing, right? If we keep going down the trend that we are, he will end up being traded. Yes, I do believe that. And why wouldn't we at this point? He's over a point per game. He's got 13 points. Let me see here, just to double check and make sure that I'm saying this right. Patrick Kane has 13 points in his last 12 games. You can get a lot for a Patrick Kane at this point right now, I believe, or at the trade deadline if you are not in a playoff spot. And so I can see Steve Yzerman trading a Patrick Kane. If you are not in a playoff spot, I can see him trading a Patrick Kane. Do I want that? No, I want Patrick Kane to be here for another 2 years if he can. But it really is all dependent on Patrick Kane, too. Does Patrick Kane really want to be with a team that's not going to be pushing for a playoff spot come trade deadline day? We're just going to have to wait and see. That will be early March, maybe late February. I'm not exactly sure what the date is, but we'll follow up on that. But those are my final thoughts. Go Red Wings, like I said one more time. Matt, Derek, love you guys. Until next time, we'll see y'all on the next one. Bye-bye.